Hi, quick PSA on Zafina. All of her stances are launch punishable. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. A lot of her stance transitions are launch punishable. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'm using Elisa here because Elisa is a great example of what I mean. So, because she has the exact same thing that I'm going to be talking about with Zafina. So, with down 3, on block, down 3 is... the frame data says it's like minus 13, minus 14 or something like that. However, because she is forced into a down back 1 stance, the move becomes launch punishable. There's no way to cancel out of this. She can't block during it. So the move on paper is minus 14, but in reality it's launch punishable because she has to go into this stance, and she doesn't have a move in this stance that's faster than 2 frames. So, and the same concept exists with Zafina, only with a lot more of her moves. So, if I, for example, do just 1-3, I accidentally canceled it. If I just do 1-3 and then I do a jab afterwards, let's say. So 1-3, when she goes into Scarecrow, is normally minus 4 on block? Yeah, minus 4 on block. But what you have to remember is that because she's in this stance and her fastest move out of this stance is 10 frames, this is effectively minus 14. So that means what I can do is when she does this, I can do a 13 frame punish. And even her fastest move cannot get around this 13 frame punish. So, again, in reality, what this means is this move is minus 13-0 trade with a 14 frame move. Like that. And of course, if she doesn't do anything after this, then you can launch her. And she can't do fucking anything about it. So, let's say she doesn't grab. Let's say she doesn't cancel it. She goes into stance and then cancels it. Still not enough time. She's still getting launched, right? That's a 14 frame launch. Let's do something that everyone typically has. Just a down forward 2, right? Yeah, I mean, that works. You know, she doesn't do anything, she's getting launched. Nothing she can do about it. But if you want to play it safe, of course, you can just do 13 frame punish. And even though it doesn't say punish, because she technically hasn't done anything, you are punishing her for going into stance. And there are a few more moves that this exists on, too, that are very important to know. Particularly moves that force her to transition stance. So, for example, a move that everyone says is going to be extremely good and one of her main ways to get into Tarantula is up forward 1+2. But you have to remember that she can't block during this. And this is minus 7. So while she stays on the ground, down forward 1 whiffs, but you get the point, right? You know, this is punishable. It's not extremely punishable, and it's going to be character dependent. But the move is minus 7, and her fastest move out of Tarantula is 11 frames. No, that's damage. Her fastest move out of Tarantula is actually... I'm having trouble finding it, though. Give me a second. Her fastest move out of Tarantula is 14 frames. It's her 3. Her 3 is her fastest move out of Tarantula. So, what that effectively means when up forward 1+2 is minus 7, and she can't cancel out of it, and her fastest move is 14 frames, it's effectively minus 21. This is effectively minus 21. So, just to kind of give you an example of this, we'll have her do this into that, which is, again, the fastest move she can do out of Tarantula. And, again, she can't do anything, right? And, again, there's probably better stuff that you can do. This is stuff you have to experiment with your character. But, yeah. And then, keep in mind that this is going to be even worse on floor stages. Or, yeah, stages with floor breaks, like Forgotten Realm. Because, with Elisa, for example, if you do this hop kick, that'll break the floor. And that's a punish. So she doesn't get a ton of damage out of it, but she gets a lot more reward out of it. And what does Zafina get for actually hitting this move? Well, she hits the opponent, she goes into Tarantula, and she gets a mix-up. But what is she at? What is she at? She is at... Up forward, 1 plus 2 is plus 6. So she does this, and effectively, because she's only plus 6, mind you, the only thing that she can actually do without being interrupted is 3. Because her second fastest move in Tarantula, her 1, is 18 frames. So if she's plus 6 and does an 18 frame move, well, you can do the math. If you do a 12 frame move, it'll trade. So if you do a down jab, so let's just throw this out there. So if she does, hold on, Zafina. So if she does that into a 1 here, so I get hit by it. Let's actually get hit by it. And then I do a down jab. I mean, you see what I mean? She can only do a 3. And her 3, mind you, is minus 7. And if she transitions into any stances, it's launch punishable. So, on block, of course. So, yeah. And then don't forget, you can also just hop kick too because it's a low. So, yeah. And then just to give you an example of how the character dependence of this, how important it is, let's go to Elisa real quick. And show you the same thing but with Elisa, because I believe that she can get a combo off it. See what I mean? There you go. That's something that Elisa can get. Fucked up the DP, but you get the point. And then imagine if this is the wall, right? So Elisa can do something like, if we get closer to the wall here. Boom, 42 damage at the wall. And then free Oki. That could lead to that, right? All off of doing an up forward 1 plus 2. And it's all guaranteed, too. So if I do, like, that. Again, the fastest thing she can do, 14 frames. Oh, fuck, I fucked up the combo. But you get the point. You get the point, I think. There we go. Alright. And then you can do something like this. Jesus Christ, that took long enough to get the right angle. But anyway, you get the point. I wanted to make this PSA because, not just for people playing against Zafina, because it seems a lot of people don't understand this concept, but also just for Zafina players too, because I see a lot of Zafina players who are very complicit in just doing whatever to go into stance, and when you start getting people who actually know that this is something you can do to beat that, they're in for a rude awakening, and they're going to be building a lot of bad habits, using a lot of moves that are really trash, like up forward 1+2 is a really trash move, but a lot of people are using it. And it's important to know that, like, doing this is actually launch punishable even though it says it's -7. Because even though it's -7, she's forced into stance. And she can't block in the stance. So when you're looking at frame data with, I think the thing to take away from this is when you're looking at frame data with Zafina, you have to take into account, you can't just look at it face value, right? You can't just look at like Tarantula 3, for example. That's not Tarantula. Tarantula 3, for example, and say, oh, this is safe, it's -7. I see a lot of people doing that, even really good players, even high level, pro level players who are saying, oh, this is -7, so it's safe. No, it's not. It's not -7, it's -21 because she is forced into Tarantula and she can't block in Tarantula. She has to do that in order to actually be able to block anything. And transitioning from Tarantula to standing is going to be more than 30 frames, so it's punishable by something. I don't know how long this transition is, and that's going to be a very important thing to know, but this isn't safe. That's the important thing. Even though this is -7, this is not a safe move. You can't just do this into this is something. It doesn't work. Anyway, I think I've explained everything I wanted to explain. So yeah, just again, I think the important, and keep in mind that this doesn't apply to Scarecrow because Zafina can actually block in Scarecrow. So everything that I've said is wow. Yeah. Everything I said only applies to Tarantula and Scarecrow, not Mantis. I think I called this Scarecrow before. This only applies to Tarantula and Scarecrow. Mantis doesn't count. That's important to know. But yeah. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. I hope it wasn't too long-winded, but anyway, yeah, I hope this was helpful. Look for those moves that force transitions into stances. Make sure that you don't take the frame data for Zafina at face value. And punish her for going into stances. Please, for the love of God, punish her for going into a dumb fucking stances.